everyone, and welcome to Marks for Life podcast, making its return with your hosts, Jimmy and CJ. We rebranded to become all elite in all pop culture, from AEW to Marvel to video games to Netflix and so much more. You name Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Marks for Life podcast. I am CJ, one of your co-hosts today.
And I'm your other one, Jimmy.
And today we're going to be talking about Marvel's What If series. It's a series of about 9 episodes animated on Disney Plus, discussing different timelines within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I thoroughly enjoyed this series.
Yeah, so if we're gonna dive into like our overall thoughts of the series, yeah, I would say overall it was very good. There wasn't one that I disliked to like a pain that was like, oh, why did they do this one? Every episode had like a pretty niche topic that was unique, and it was pretty like interesting to watch. And like, there's a couple things like if you didn't catch right away, like you were gonna be surprised by it.
Yes. There is a spoiler warning to this. We will be talking about the episodes. So if you haven't watched it yet, feel free to do so and then come back. But I think first I wasn't expecting there to be a fucking story to it all.
Yeah, so I think what was interesting is that they really left that out, and I think that was one of the more unique things about it.
Yes.
But if we were to rewatch the whole thing all over again, and kind of the one crevice point of the whole thing that was definitely one giant overarching story was the Watcher. We're listening to the Watcher tell stories over and over again, and it was all through his eyes, throughout that same motion of watching, unironically saying that without being a pun, every single timeline that was going on. So with like the very first one with
Captain Carter, if she took the serum.
Yeah, so it starts off pretty like, oh, this feels like watching like Captain America all over again, but with a different twist. And first off, I miss Haley Atwell because I think she got done pretty dirty by the end of Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Because the first season was good. Second season could have been way better, and then they just dropped it off because no one was interested after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think trying to reintroduce her to being, a super soldier essentially in this universe, in the same way that Steve Rogers was pretty unique in that way. And then also attached to that with them catching, the Tesseract,
Yes.
first before, the Red Skull got his hands on it and used it to power up, Howard Stark's version of an Iron Man suit called the Hydra Stomper. And giving that to Steve, and Steve, kind of being this kind of co-pilot to Captain Carter.
World War II's version of Iron Man. I do think it was very interesting. I know a lot of people didn't like it. Only because they said, it's essentially Captain America, but as a woman. But I think that's a very interesting twist because it showed that no matter the roles, they still felt the same about each other, which I thought was an excellent story. The more I think about it, because, no matter what, Steve still saw Carter as this wonderful, strong, beautiful, smart woman that he admired and was believed to be his true hero, and
it didn't even change the fact that like now she's even slightly bigger because like the soldier serum changed her,
and she's in a much more prominent role. But meanwhile, you look at Captain Carter, and she still feels the way about Steve. He's not strong, he's not big, he's still twiggy, but like
that's not what she liked about him. She liked the fact that he was willing to dive over a grenade and save everyone's life, because that was still the same no matter what. It's the same thing with them basically going through the motions of like the Captain America story where they rescue the Howling Commandos and instead of Bucky being, you know, the one that dies, it's Steve that
Was assumed to be perished.
assumed to have been perished, and you know, instead of using the Tesseract to like eviscerate, you know, their opponents, they use it to open a gate to a different dimension, and the Red Skull like gets destroyed from that, and then that's how Captain Carter gets from World War II era to the modern era, where she meets up with Nick Fury and becomes, you know, the leader of the Avengers in that universe.
Yes. And then we get to the next, like, and you kind of see this theme throughout, where like it's just small little twists that are just
The one, I think it's the one little difference, and everything else changes. I think it's something that the Watcher says in that one, where it's just one little detail that changes.
great introduction.
Where instead of Peggy Carter being in the observatory part, because if
Yeah.
you watch the Captain America: The First Avenger, she's in that observatory part, but in this one she's on the ground level, and that's how she kind of got switched, because she got a chance to stop the guy from shooting Ursek, but it shot Steve and he couldn't go into the thing, and that's how she got involved. So
I thought Ursek died no matter what, but then he was able to get to Steve.
maybe I think that was what it is.
Yeah.
I don't remember 100%, but I think that might have been it. I don't remember, but
The next one I think we should talk about is what if T'Challa, Black Panther, became Star-Lord.
this one was unironically my favorite one. So I think it starts off with you know, the opening to Guardians of the Galaxy, but instead of you know,
Yondu taking Peter, he takes T'Challa.
yeah, exactly, and it has the same opening thing where you have Morag, was it Morag or
Morag,
Morag, confronting, you know,
Star-Lord.
At the but not really recognizing him as Star-Lord, but like fanboying out because T'Challa as Star-Lord is somehow a better person than Peter
He is
Quill
an infinitely better. He's just infinitely better. Like you look,
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that at a young age he was a royal prince and he was taught like we have to do good by everybody.
Yes.
And make sure, and I think that's what captivates that character specifically, to be like this really well-renowned pseudo outlaw, pseudo like protector / savior. And they do all these like renegade jobs. Like there's like a funny joke where you just had to talk to T'Challa and Thanos would stop being a genocidal maniac, and that was
it
funny.
could have worked.
And it could have worked. And it's just well, besides they got Chadwick Boseman to voice him, and this was made right before his passing, and this was like the send off letter to be like okay, this is Chadwick's like big thing, we're gonna enjoy it, let's fully envelop in it, because like that was, I think when that episode came out was like the anniversary of his death, which I think really sunk a heart, because I remember when me and Rena were watching it, she was like devastated towards the end.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that happens in this one is that T'Challa has to go, I think, gather some alien seed thing, and is helped by a non-mechanized Nebula with blonde hair who calls her Cha-Cha.
I loved that.
Yeah, I know. So did I. I thought it was
key. I enjoyed that because like it shows his influence. Like, Nebula and Thanos have a strained yet ability to be repairable relationship. You see Drax, who still has his family with a wife and daughter, and they take a picture together. Like you see all this stuff, and he's just like, he does so much good. Like,
Yeah.
you definitely feel his influence.
Yeah, and then it kind of continues into the story where like he has to steal these seeds from the Collector, because the Collector is now the person that filled the void after Thanos
Left, retired.
Yeah, he took over the Black Order. He's way beefier. And apparently, and this is something that we didn't expect, he got so much more powerful that he went to Earth and collected kind of all the Avengers' powers. He got
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, Thor's hammer, Cap's shield. I think he got Iron Man's gauntlet or something like that. He also had what was the first weapon before he got? He also got Hela's helmet.
Yes, I
The
was very
Necro swords.
surprised about that one.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised by it too. But he also had a different thing. He had a different weapon. I forget what it was. That's like it's bothering me that I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
But definitely showed a lot more personality of T'Challa than I think Black Panther, or expanded on it so much more.
It showed a little bit of the desire T'Challa had to expand, because that's something he wanted to do, but he knew as being the prince that he had to think of Wakanda first.
Yes.
And now that he wasn't on Wakanda, he got a chance to do that. Now, he was also, to kind of put a little bit of a twist on it, he was somewhat lied to by Yondu, because Yondu had told him that Wakanda was destroyed from Earth. And that's not true, because his father sent ships all across the universe to try to find him.
Mm-hmm.
And it reconnected him, and it made him want to go back to Earth to reconnect with his father, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And then at the very, very end of it, you get to see Peter Quill working at a Dairy Queen, living his best life, and then being confronted by his father, Ego, pretty much setting up for T'Challa to save him.
Yes.
And what was also unique about this one, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What was unique about this one is that when we first get introduced to the Watcher, he's just a silhouette of the galaxy, but you start seeing a little bit more of him.
Uh-huh.
It comes a little bit fuller. He's not the galaxy. He's just this kind of slightly dark shadow, and it kind of continues moving forward until you fully see the Watcher. So I think it's kind of unique when the story progresses that way. That's kind of the notice that you kind of need to know that this is a one enveloping story in a way.
That was pretty much it. I was just gonna go to the next episode.
All right, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. This one's actually one my favorite episode.
All right, I'll let you take this one.
Is what if if Avengers lost Earth's were killed?
Yeah.
And
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, it's fine. It's just you see Iron Man die. You see Thor get murked after he's trying to get the hammer. You see Hulk explode. Hawkeye just dead. Black Widow die. You see all of this stuff. And it really goes into, and the reason why I bring this up is because I liked how they did it. And it was all because of Hank Pym. And the choice was that Nick Fury recruited Hope Van Dyne. And because of that, she died. And now and then Hank Pym, he
cracked and became Yellow Jacket, which is something that actually does happen in the comics, which is a nice little homage as well.
It not only is a nice homage, it shows how powerful he is. He literally could take down every single Avenger then. You know, he's not only very intelligent, he has access to excellent weaponry, and he is very opportunistic. And I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, and then also while that's going on, after Thor's death is when we get the Asgardian army and Loki coming down to conquer Earth. And they kind of do that by the end of the thing, because Nick Fury asks Loki to take on Hank.
Yes.
And then Loki takes over the world, and then he finds Captain America's body and calls Captain Marvel to come back to Earth because they gotta take on Loki. And you want to know what's unique about that story?
What?
I don't know. Do you know about this?
No.
So that whole thing happens in 1 week, and there's a tie-in that Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America: The First Avenger. All four of those movies happen in 1 week.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
It actually did have there's
That's
a tie-in
kinda
comic
crazy.
that kind of connects that. Fury's big week was just the cycling around of Iron Man 2, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America. It was all 1 week.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't
That's
that crazy?
Definitely something I didn't think about.
It's unique in that way. And for me, it wasn't the strongest because there's other stories that I think we'll get into later once we get towards the end. But it definitely was, like, at the time, it was definitely unique in that way.
I definitely liked it the most because I didn't expect it to be Hank Pym.
I didn't expect
And
it
then
either.
when I saw how he did it, it really made me appreciate the power of Ant-Man. You know, because when you had Scott Lang, he was like, okay, you know, he was comedy, funny. But, like, when it's really in the hands of someone that knows how to use the tech. And this is something I've mentioned on other episodes where I love it when people use weapons or they'll use armor or whatever. They'll use it to their full capabilities. Like, it's only as good as the user. And Hank Pym used it so well. And it really shows that, like, Scott Lang's a fucking amateur. Like, what Hank Pym did was astonishing. And he could have continued if he really had the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 4?
Is if Doctor Strange lost his heart.
This one was my personal favorite.
Okay.
So this goes into the story of, instead of Doctor Strange losing the ability to commit, do surgery and stuff like that, is if he lost Rachel. I believe that's her name, correct?
Yes.
If he lost Rachel in a car accident. And it plays into a trope that kind of gets used, that, like, men who lose their,
No, Christine. It was played by Rachel
Christine.
McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. Yeah, right. Christine. Thank you. It plays into, like, kind of, I don't want to say an outdated trope, but plays into a trope where men who have a desire to try to get back what they want will do anything to get to it,
Yes.
even if that means at the cost of the world around them. And for some people, because I saw this online when this particular episode came out, that not a lot of people liked it because they didn't like the idea of, like, the woman needed to die in order to do that. But if you kind of think about it for a little bit longer, it didn't really matter because the world was going to die around him.
I think it was very important to show that her death was necessary.
Yeah,
Like, that was an absolute point. There was no way to change it. And that really led to the spiral because he dealt with that trauma thousands of times.
Yeah, because he then learns about, how to become a sorcerer, just like he does in the movie, but then uses the time stone to replay that scene and then tries to change it. And then you realize you can't change it because you're right. An absolute point in time can't be changed. So then he goes and tries to find a mystic temple to where he can get that power to maybe change that point in time.
And then he just starts absorbing every fucking demon imaginable.
And, demon and power, and just kind of corrupting himself and not really recognizing he's becoming the thing that he shouldn't.
Yes.
And it kind of culminates with...
what was it? It's Doctor Strange taking on Strange Supreme.
Yes, because after doing it many times and before going to the temple, he's confronted by the Ancient One, and the Ancient One tells him to don't do it, and then she splits him.
Yes.
So one of them goes off into the temple, and the other one continues, and it ends with them coming back together and then destroying the universe, and then them...
Because as soon as he revives Rachel, the whole universe just collapses.
Yeah, around him, and then the only way to, like, save whatever it is, the Watcher actually kind of got involved a little bit and contained the universe.
I thought he did that.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. He created the mirror universe, but he notices the Watcher. He's the first one in the entire series so far that notices the Watcher.
Yes.
And he said, couldn't you have helped? And he said, no.
I cannot interfere.
He cannot interfere, which is the classic line. And again, he progressively comes a little bit more noticed because now the shadows are starting to really...
Fade.
Yeah. And it's starting to become more like a person. Like, you see more details of his face and whatnot.
Next one we have is if Marvel Avengers became zombies.
Oh, yeah. This one was
one of my favorite comics. I loved this. So and I liked how they introduced it, which was referencing Ant-Man 2, them going back to rescue Janet Van Dyne from the quantum realm, but she brings back a virus, and then it just infects everybody, and the whole world. And then when Bruce comes to Earth from
so it starts with the Hulk coming back to Earth from the beginning of Infinity War, because what's going on, it's basically the beginning of Infinity War and beginning of Ant-Man 2, or Ant-Man and the Wasps. We're all like zombies are just everywhere, and they kill the Dark Order people. They kind of take over the whole planet. And there's only a few enclaves of people left. You have Banner still not being able to like Hulk out. You have
Banner still alive. You have Happy Hogan, Sharon Carter. You have Winter
Bucky.
Soldier, Bucky. You have Okoye. You have Spider-Man, who's doing a fucking like Zombieland YouTube video of how to survive.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's totally Spider-Man.
And you have Doctor Strange's cape.
Yeah, Doctor Strange's cape.
And just a ragtag group. And then and Hope Van Dyne.
Yep.
Who is a very central character. Shows that she can take down a whole zombie army if she fucking wanted to.
But I think they get like a beacon of some kind.
Yes.
That tracks them down to the
Camp Lehigh.
Yeah, which is the base from I think the first Captain America movie, which is where Steve was trained. But that's where
Yes.
the person who sent the beacon, which was
Turns out to be Vision.
who is kind of doing bad because he
Vision takes on the role of Doctor Doom, but that's like something I'll touch on in a second. Like, I always loved how all of the Avengers were just so. They still retained their powers. You had Hawkeye still being able to never miss. You had Falcon flying around with no arms, just trying to chomp. Captain America, although killing Sharon Carter.
Yeah, killing Sharon Carter, killing Happy. Oh yeah, there was also that dude from Ant-Man and the Wasp, the one of the
Yes, the Russian guy.
the Russian guy who we'll get to his death in a minute.
But I liked Bucky's line, and that was like where he said, "Guesses this is the end of the line after killing Cap."
And he gets his shield, and then like
It was
kind of confirming that he's like the Captain America in that universe now, which is kind of funny.
kind of definitely good. But then you also get to see this is where Hope gets infected, and she slowly starts to turn. They get to Camp Lehigh. She sacrifices herself as a giant, which she's a fucking idiot. She is a fucking idiot. You know why? Why, in God's name, did you just not revert back into human form? Because, spoiler alert, became a fucking giant zombie. No one asked for that. Regardless.
Oh yeah, and then we get the combination of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange's cape confirming Spider-Man Supreme, I believe. Yeah, Spider-Man Supreme,
Yes.
which was awesome.
Very
And I wish
good.
we got more of him, but spoiler alert.
Yes. We got to see Vision, and Vision actually cured Ant-Man, Scott Lang, which was very interesting. He actually had the role of Janet Van Dyne in the comics, where she was just a floating zombie head. Now it's Scott Lang. So he ends up adopting the cloak.
Which is funny because there's a head in a jar with a cape, and it reminds me of Al Gore from Futurama in that one episode,
Yes.
which is hilarious. But we learned that Vision's been doing bad things with
T'Challa's leg.
yeah. So he's been sending that beacon to lure in regular people to imprison them and then feed off part of their body to Wanda, who did turn because Vision still.
All while pushing other zombies out because this was a big thing. The Mind Stone kept the zombies at bay. It didn't affect Wanda though because she was also turned by the Mind Stone.
Mm-hmm.
So just a cool thing about that. Zombie
so-
Wanda scary.
Yeah, zombie Wanda scary. We get kind of more horrific deaths with Hulk dying. We get
Hulk never died. Never shown.
never shown that he died. That is true.
They tried to bite him and then he hulked out and then now he's impervious to zombie bites. Which what?
Okoye gets captured by Wanda and dies, unfortunately.
Assuming.
The Russian dude that we talked before, when we find out that he's been hiding Wanda,
We
yells
never
out,
see them die though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, he gets sucked up, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to see a grotesque, zombie biting in a kids animation
I
TV
wanna
show
see
on
that.
Disney. Obviously, we do because we're fucking adults. But
Yeah. But then we get that face off. Well, after Vision takes out his Mind Stone, gives it to them, he's like, "Go to Wakanda. It's safe," while rescuing Black Panther. They fly away as you see Hulk taking on zombie Wanda.
which was sick.
Yes.
I think it was Wanda or it was Janet who like flings Bucky across the thing, and he's presumed dead as well, but we don't really know.
Wanda flings him, yeah, because he just want to fucking murk her.
Yeah,
And then
and then it's just Spider-Man and T'Challa, and they go to Wakanda, and we get another.
you missed a
Oh, and the head of Scott Lang.
Yes.
And we see them go to Wakanda, and we get this really beautiful moment with T'Challa, and it was just another reminder of like Chadwick being really, adamant in this project.
Until you see zombie Thanos.
Yeah, you see zombie Thanos, and like at that point, you're like, oh, this is like legit scary.
Yes. Terrifying. Next one is if Killmonger saved Iron Man, which I felt like I had a lot of high hopes for it. I felt very disappointed.
Yeah, it wasn't that it was bad. It's just this is basically if what happened in the first Black Panther movie basically happened.
Yes.
Kind of in a different way, because instead of Iron Man existing in this world, Killmonger saves him and kind of usurps, Obadiah Stane's kind of role in Iron Man's like organization. And Tony puts so much trust in him, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be the smartest person in the room, and you're giving all this power to this complete stranger who you don't really know or understand fully. And the only person who actually kind of acknowledges this is Pepper, and you kind of wonder what the intentions of Killmonger are. And he tells him about vibranium, and he tells him that you should organize like a buy-in with Rhodey in the room with the return of Claw.
Yes.
And that's basically just to lure in T'Challa. And Killmonger kills T'Challa, which was really sad.
Kills Rhodey.
Kills all those people, and leaves Claw still alive just to gain access to Wakanda.
Yes.
And then kills him to kind of show like, no, I'm actually Wakandan and I am your nephew.
He kills Iron Man in order for the United States to go to war with Wakanda based on weaponry. And
that he helped design with Tony. And Tony being... And this is... I think what's interesting about this is that I would actually believe this if it wasn't Killmonger doing it, and if it was like Obadiah Stane, because what's unique about what happens with Iron Man in the first movie is that being in the cave and being held hostage makes him kind of reliable on his smart, his brain power and his knowledge and, his ingenuity to build the suit.
Yes.
And in this one, because he gets saved and he doesn't have to deal with those consequences, reverts back to the same asshole that he was in the very beginning of the movie.
And he only relies on his tech.
Yeah, and he only relies on the tech because he builds the machine to fight off against Killmonger. But Killmonger is also a fighter and also intelligent. So he kills him. And
it's very interesting to see that Killmonger played both Wakanda and the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what his version of liberation is. Because if this is what it would have been in Black Panther, I don't really know if that would have been a good thing. Because what is then to believe is that he's taking revenge on the people who killed his father as well. And that also leads to T'Challa's death. And eventually, later on, when we find out about the king and queen.
Yes.
Their deaths and all this. And then him becoming the Black Panther ruling Wakanda.
I don't think they ever died, the king and queen.
So later on, when like in the last episode, when they're collecting all the people, you'll see like a destroyed throne room, and it's kind of implied that he got his wish in killing the person responsible for his father's death.
Oh, okay. I did enjoy it to a degree, but like I felt like it was so lackluster compared to the other ones. But like then again, he got 2 wars to kind of like go against each other just for his own personal gain. Which is
an interesting story, but like I mean, I've seen a lot of people be like really enthralled with this, who really liked it, and I'm like, you do realize he's only using Wakanda just so he can kind of fight off against, fight for Black liberation, but also like to get revenge on the people responsible for his father's death, and the person responsible for his father's death is the king of Wakanda.
Yeah.
And it's just this weird. It doesn't, I don't think, represent what Black liberation is supposed to be in the best way, but it's at least an interesting story that like keeps Killmonger still alive in like this universe. Because I think even in Black Panther, he was a pretty compelling character.
Yes, and I think this made him all the more compelling. Like if he had, because this just shows. Imagine if he had resources.
Yeah, imagine if he got a chance to placate the United States government like he did in this one in Black Panther, and also placate the Wakandan military. Also, special shout out to watching the Queen of Wakanda being probably the most badass Dora Milaje general that we never got a chance to see in the movie. And I know for a fact my wife was very upset by this because she definitely wanted to see Angela Bassett be a kick-ass.
Well, now she saw an animated Angela Bassett be a kick-ass.
Yeah, I know, and she wants that to be in the next Black Panther movie, so go figure.
Do you think that here's my personal opinion. I think they should just recast T'Challa.
No, I don't.
But the only reason why is I don't think Chadwick should own that role. I feel like that's very disrespectful to the character. And I don't think Chadwick would want the role to be retired because of him.
That is true, but there have been other people who have done Black Panther, garb that wasn't T'Challa. I feel like it's too soon, and I know like his death has been like, it's been what, over a year now?
Yes.
I know it's been over a year, but like the people who were around him who made the movie and didn't even know, I feel like still feel pretty harsh about it. So I don't think recasting him right away is a good thing. What I would like to see, if let's say when the next Black Panther movie comes out, there's a story where Shuri does eventually become Black Panther. And I'm not going to go into specifics at the moment. But at the same time, T'Challa is then crowned the king of the necropolis of Wakanda. And that's like an underground city. It's kind of like the underworld for them. Kind of like when we see that plane with all the dead kings and everything like that.
Yes.
So it would be interesting to see like a figure who would be Black Panther be the king of the necropolis. And then we know that's T'Challa, and you know that T'Challa's still in the universe, but he isn't the Black Panther. I don't know, like...
I don't know. It's weird because Marvel is not the first. Marvel has recast people before.
Yeah, but like comparing that to, with Rhodey, I think
Hulk.
or Hulk. I don't know. With Hulk, he had one movie, and to be honest, nobody liked that movie. I liked it. So I was a little disappointed when they recasted Edward Norton. I liked Edward Norton. I liked that Hulk movie too. But they didn't seem eye to eye on it. And everyone liked Chadwick. Everyone's there's going to be a key graph of people who are not going to be pleasant that they recasted it just for the sole purposes of pushing out another Marvel franchise movie. I think that there is a way to recast them. I don't know if right away is the right answer. There's also the possibility that they could go with now that Disney kind of owns the X-Men's franchise, that they could play into the new Avengers story where T'Challa and Storm had their child Azari.
Yeah.
And Azari becomes the Black Panther. That's a possibility. But we don't really know. We don't really know what the future for that is.
I think there's so much that they could do with the Black Panther character. And I think it's a shame that, it's definitely a tragedy that he passed. But I think that it would be a disservice to a character that predated him.
True.
And had his own legacy not be fulfilled. Because I don't know, maybe controversially that's a little selfish.
Maybe that's probably a little
I'm being selfish and they're also being selfish. So it's like it's a battle of selfishness.
I don't know. You also kind of need to think like this is like the first proper Black superhero that we've seen on like a real cinematic theatrical release.
Besides Blade.
Well, I mean, that's not Wesley Snipes. um, that like, you know, African Americans in our country like really galvanized and really collectively really supported Black Panther, and it felt
Yeah.
you know refreshing, and it felt inspiring, and I don't know, like recasting the character right away, I feel like would hurt a lot of, I won't say their feelings, but it would hurt that community, because it feels like, oh, we're just gonna you know typecast another person just to fill in a shoe, just to fill in.
But you can't type. This is going to be another topic in general, but you can't typecast a Black person to be a Black superhero. That's
True.
literally the requirement of Black Panther. An African king is to be Black. That's not typecasting. That's
I
a
mean-
legitimate requirement.
I mean,
That's like Shang-Chi being played by some ginger. Like, you know what I mean? But besides, that's a whole nother topic that we could discuss at another point, is whether Black Panther should be recast.
true.
And that's another what if episode.
Another what if.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of which, episode 7. What if Thor was an only child? Was probably the most fun episode. Most fun I had watching an episode.
It was
Frat
definitely
Boy
the
Thor.
Fat Boy Thor was definitely fun. I will say it was definitely the most fun.
Matching
to see-
tattoos.
You got to see Loki, who wasn't really actually his brother, but it became like a prince of the Frost Giants, and you see like Tom Hiddleston like in this Frost Giant form, which was pretty funny because they're all dude broing each other. It's so funny.
It's great.
And then it all ends with what is it?
Frigga.
Freya being told by Jane Foster at Shield that Thor's acting out, and
Having a party.
yeah,
So good. The fact that the whole universe is scared of Frigga, Odin's wife.
wouldn't you? I mean, she didn't even use the Bifrost to get to Earth. She flew on her own thing.
No, she bifrosted.
Oh, she Bifrosted?
She
Oh.
bifrosted. But like, it's just terrifying, and I think Thor really became a good guy because of Loki. And look at him now. He's just partying all the time. He literally turned Vegas into like a partying battlefield. And I loved it.
Well, up until the end of the episode where we get to see Ultron and his army come out,
Yes.
and Ultron being in his vision form with all Infinity Stones.
This is where we're going to combine the last two episodes, because this is where the story gets in place. So you see that it starts with what if Ultron won. So pretty much if Ultron got into Vision's body, he became unstoppable. A vibranium body, a perfect synthezoid, killing the Avengers, really being the villain we thought he would be. And there was no one to stop him.
Not even Thanos when he showed up with 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones, and then
Which I still don't get how he got the Time Stone.
well, so I'm assuming in this universe that the Sorcerer Supremes probably took it off world, and Thanos probably tracked it down and took it from them.
How though? Ultron literally killed everybody.
It's possible that they took the Time Stone off world, and then whoever had it off world confronted Thanos at that
Can
point
they
in time.
do that?
It's possible. Like I feel like if there was no way of stopping Ultron, which seems to be the case, that they would take an extremely powerful relic of the universe off world, so Ultron doesn't follow. But then Thanos like stops them. He got the Soul Stone as well, and I'm assuming that he probably killed Nebula.
He
'cause
had to have killed Nebula.
Yeah, because
you see Gamora's still alive.
Yeah, Gamora was still alive because she died at the Sovereign, because Ultron kills Thanos in the quickest, cleanest way possible.
Very.
That was which actually kind of goes to show like exactly his thinking of
efficiency.
like organic life, because he just slices him in half with the Mind Stone, collects all the Infinity Stones, then gets Ultron armor on top of his synthesoid body. Looks total badass.
Nukes the whole world. Pretty much does a universal genocide. Kills Captain Marvel. Kills everybody. Everybody. Just murks. Oh my god.
It was nuts. The only people still around, I think, was Hawkeye and
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
which Hawkeye then dies, sacrificing himself. So this way,
Well, hold on, we're jumping ahead a little bit.
not really. This is where
Well, no, he conquers the whole universe, and then the Watcher's telling his story, and then Ultron heard the Watcher, turns around and sees the Watcher for the first time, and that scares the Watcher, and then he goes sideswipe. Remember?
yeah, but that was granted. It was a big part of the episode, but also a very small part of the episode. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. It's just like that. That point is like, oh, he's so powerful that he can see someone who is just observing different universes.
Yeah.
And then, then it goes into, okay, how do we stop this Ultron? And the Watcher kind of interferes a little bit.
He doesn't interfere at all. Not with this, no. No, he did.
No, yeah, you're right. So
Yeah, he's just watching
there.
it.
He's watching it.
He's literally just yelling at them
Yelling
without
at
yelling
Hawkeye.
at them
Yeah.
to do something. It's like I was watching a TV and I was yelling at them to do something and they just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
And they find the key, which is to go seek out Armin Zola.
Camp Lehigh. Yep.
And then that leads to a
Oh,
Hawkeye.
no, it's the Russian base. It's the Russian base.
Yeah, it's the Russian base because there was different bases that are just like that stored
Yes.
different Armin Zolas, which then kind of brings in the question: is Armin Zola still around in our regular universe?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I could believe that. And then they do.
They end up Hawkeye sacrificing himself to get an Ultron, pretty much like a Arrow Ultron whatever virus that is Arnim Zola on like a flash drive, and Black Widow just runs away.
Yeah, and that's basically an homage scene to Endgame, where the reverse happened, where Black Widow dies and Hawkeye gets the Soul Stone and kind of away. But that also culminates into this amazing scene where Ultron breaks through the universal barrier between the different universes of the Watcher watching and then where he's at, and proceeds to fight each other, and the Watcher becoming this total badass, thinking that he could take on Ultron, but to no avail, because Ultron literally eats a galaxy, and it kind of ends with Ultron trying to find the Watcher but can't find him because he hid himself in Doctor Strange's universe.
Yes. And he asks Doctor Strange for help.
And that's how episode 8 ends, going into episode 9.
Which he then collects everyone, every main
Protagonist from every story. Well, almost all of them, because this is where I get my gripe in.
So you get Captain Carter, Party Thor, Strange Supreme, Star-Lord T'Challa, and Killmonger. And then you also grab Gamora from
a different universe where she is the savior of Sakaar and destroyer of Thanos.
And she destroyed the Infinity Stones in her universe. Only reason why that episode was not released was because of COVID.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna ask that.
Does that answer your gripe?
A little bit, because it would have been cool to see that fucking episode.
It's gonna be in the first episode of the second season.
All right.
Collects them all to fight Ultravision. And
they had like this plan to use the same thing that destroyed the Infinity Stones in Gamora's universe. And
but I'm gonna be real here. I didn't trust Killmonger for a second.
Oh yeah, neither did I.
He starts examining the Ultron helmets in when they go to.
They go to that little bar area in like the random universe that
yes,
the Watcher puts them in, and then they go off to signal to Ultron to basically come, and they confront him. Strange puts like some sort of protection magic spell on them that helps protect them from like the power of the Infinity Stones, which is pretty cool.
They took an Infinity Stone, they took the Mind Stone, and then they poured it off to Ultron's universe. Meanwhile, Strange ends up having zombies attack Ultravision,
Which was awesome.
Yeah, then you see Wanda, zombie Wanda, but you see her so sad.
Yeah, she's like, huh?
Yeah.
And then he realizing, this is unique. And it's not Vision, but it's Ultron.
Yeah. Excellent fight scenes, I'd say, throughout this whole episode was just excellent fight scenes from the multiplication of Mjolnir's hammer to Captain Carter just literally laying into Ultravision to actually I gotta say Star-Lord and Killmonger were literally the weakest ones out of all of them.
Yeah. Well, Killmonger, I think, was only there just to stay kind of alive until, you get kind of to the climax, which was they can't destroy the Infinity Stones because the Crusher apparently is from a different universe and he can't destroy different universes' Infinity Stones in that with that particular device.
Yes.
Which is a dumb little cop out, but hey.
Eh.
It's comic books, TV. You kind of need to accept that.
But you see them partnering up with the Black Widow of the Mad Max universe that Ultravision was from. And her and Captain Carter still ship them. Thought that was great because at the very beginning you saw them have a little flirty thing going on.
Well, with her universe's Black Widow.
Exactly.
And it was pretty cool.
It was.
You get the point where they defeat Ultravision by importing that virus with Armin Zola into that
Synthesoid armor.
into the Synthesoid armor, which then stops him. But Killmonger tries to steal the Infinity Stones away, and then we have Armin Zola come out of the Synthesoid thing in what is arguably the closest thing I've seen to Armin Zola in the comic book form, because you see his body on the stomach of a Synthesoid, which is exactly how he looked in the comics. It's pretty close, at least. And they fight over who's going to control the Infinity Stones, and then Doctor Strange locks them in the mirror dimension.
Yes.
And is then tasked by the Watcher to watch him.
Yes. And it ends with the Watcher sending everyone to their own respective universes. Captain Carter being sad because she couldn't get the happy ending she deserved, which
if it continued, you get to see her being. So when they get Captain Carter, it's actually the beginning of Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And they're on the boat and they've already defeated Backdrop the Leaper, and they go onto the ship and they discover one of the cargo vessels has the Hydra Smasher armor, and it's to be believed that they iced Steve Rogers the same way that they iced
him and his.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they bring Black Widow into a universe without Black Widow. They bring her to where she died previously because of Hank Pym, and that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You get the
it was Captain Marvel, Nick Fury, and Black Widow.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. And then they defeat Loki. That was a nice little ending for them.
Yes.
Gamora returns back to her universe with that universe's version of Tony Stark,
who's
in like a Hulkbuster armor, but like it's made from the like machine parts from Sakaar because it has like the same color palette.
Yeah.
You see Star-Lord hanging out with Peter Quill, and they're both Star-Lording together. And I'll talk to you about something about that in a little bit. And then Party Thor returns back to partying.
Best line in the whole show was when Party Thor was like, "Viva Las Vegas," and just shoots Ultravision with lightning. And he's like, "I've never heard that before." And his battle cry is Vegas, and I'm going to steal that. I love it.
It was overall, I think, What If was a good is a good stepping stone into what Marvel is going to be hopefully doing in future projects. Hopefully, and maybe we'll see some of these characters back, and hopefully the live action stuff too.
Yes, I'm very excited. I think the biggest person we'll be able to see is Strange Supreme in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
and Captain Carter. Those two I feel like are the most.
Maybe we'll see Killmonger come back. I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
I feel like if we're gonna see Killmonger come back, he's gonna be just continuing to fight Arnim Zola for the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, we'll see like the Strange Supreme kind of like maybe like they'll encase Armin Zola, or maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
We will see.
I will say the only critique that I have it is that we didn't get to see Spider-Man.
I'm okay with it. if only because we're having a whole movie dedicated to a multiversal Spider-Man, and we've had essentially 3 what ifs of Marvel Spider-Man movies, 4 if you want to include Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There is so much Spider-Man content available in media. I think it was a very smart idea for them to stray away from that.
No, that's a terrible thing. Spider-Man's like the biggest superhero in Marvel franchise.
Dude, he has had 2... this character has had 9 movies to him. That is bigger than any other superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
Except
That's
Batman.
why. Yeah, exactly. That's why they need to be putting him in.
You're being
some.
greedy. You're being greedy.
Yes, why can't I enjoy my greed? Anyway.
You're getting literally a live-action Spider-Verse. With the Sinister Six. Stop it. Did not need any more Spider-Man. I will say, though, Nicole did bet. She's like, I bet you Spider-Man is going to be in there because they somehow always manage to shoehorn Spider-Man into anything important. So
Yeah.
we're sick of it, too. Tom Holland is overrated.
Well, you know that Tom Holland didn't actually voice Spider-Man in What If.
Yes, I know. I still say, I don't know. I'm glad that they showcased other characters besides Spider-Man. They did not need to. I also love the running joke of either Thanos being dead or nerfed and killing off Tony Stark.
Oh God.
They killed him like 3 times.
Yeah, they killed him like 3 times. It's pretty
it's
ridiculous.
Hilarious. 3 deaths. And then the 4th appearance, he's like, you're not important. No, 4 deaths. I'm sorry. 4 Iron Man deaths. Zombie, Killmonger, Ultravision, and Hank Pym.
Okay.
And then the 5th one, they're like, nah, bro, we don't need you.
Not talking about you, Stark.
Exactly. So, you know what? That's fine. Focus on the new generation besides Spider-Man because he's literally getting the entire money thrown at him.
I'm just saying he's the most popular. Like that's like saying don't have a Justice League without Batman or Superman. I'm just saying it's the same logic.
It's very different logic.
No, it's the same.
We're going to agree to disagree on this one. Because
Okay,
this is...
I'm not gonna. Let's not dive into this rabbit hole. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So, it was said that that they were going to do a spin-off of the Star-Lord T'Challa character, but unfortunately Chadwick Boseman had died.
Yes.
Do you think that would have been a good idea?
Yes. Yes. Because Star-Lord is just an infinitely more interesting character with T'Challa rather than freaking hobo Peter Quill. A lot of these what-if characters were a lot more interesting than their counterparts on the big screen. I enjoyed Captain Carter more than Captain America. I enjoyed T'Challa's Star-Lord. I enjoyed this Killmonger over the Killmonger we got on the big screen. I think that these were much more interesting characters. Ultron, for sure, was a hell of a lot more interesting. And I enjoyed Party Thor a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed any of the Thor movies.
Really? Even Ragnarok?
Yep. It's because Ragnarok felt too forced humorous-wise. It felt too forced. Such a shift compared to 2 to 3. While, yes, comedy can be good. You look at Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy where they were designed specifically for comedy. Thor, I don't expect to see him like that. The What If episode? Definitely, yeah, you know what? An only child that gets whatever he wants, and you know what? That I can get behind more than this sudden character shift in Thor. You know, it's a very weird dynamic. Mm-hmm. It's a very weird sudden change. Like, yeah, funny at the time, but I look back and I don't think it was good in the long term for Thor's character.
All right.
But Party Thor, hell of a lot better.
Party Thor was pretty good. I do wish I know that we're going to see in season 2, and I get that. It would have been nice to have actually seen that episode just so we could have like rounded out. Because like it felt really forced that they just kind of put in that Gamora for no reason.
Yeah.
Like that was the problem. And
I think they finished that. They did that episode first. Like those 2 episodes, they animated those first.
Probably, yeah.
I think that's what they did because those were the money episodes.
Yeah. Plus, they probably wanted to capitalize the most on Chadwick Boseman's voice that he used as, for as much as he had, before his passing. So,
Yeah.
where do you think? What other what if stuff would you've liked to see in season 2?
Fuck if I know.
Like, you can't think of like
Nope.
just random.
Nope.
All right.
I got nothing, dude. I'm going into this fucking blind.
And you like being blind in this.
Yes.
All right.
Usually when I'm like watching stuff, a lot of times like it'll be like anime or movies where I'm like, oh, I kind of have an idea of how the hell this is gonna go. This, no fucking idea, and I'm enjoying the fucking ride, dude. I'm enjoying this shit.
All right then. I
You?
don't have any.
Don't say Spider-Man.
No.
Thank you.
I definitely want to see what would be the consequences of the Watcher for breaking the oath, essentially. If that is going to play into like a big overarching villain. I mean, also, it kind of goes in hand to like the end of Loki with like all those universes splitting off.
Yes.
And this is how we get to see them. So it'd be interesting to see how that gets played into effect. I wonder if like how the Watcher became the Watcher at this point. That would be kind of an interesting thing because who is so powerful that he get to put the Watcher in that place?
Mm.
Or if we're gonna go into specific what if episodes, I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if they started interjecting different Marvel characters that are part of the property that Disney owns specifically.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't like X-Men or Fantastic Four or, those ones that like we're probably gonna get movies of. But like, what if with whatever superhero character like Daredevil or oh god, what are other Marvel superheroes that I could think of? Or like Blade or of Moon Knight. That would be interesting. Like before we get to see their movies or something like that.
I think before anything else, I want to see stuff animated. Because I don't think we're going to get... There's a lot of stuff I don't think we're going to get on the live screen.
Like what?
The War of Realms storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to get that. I would love to see that animated. The King of Black with Venom's Homeworld. I think that would be an excellent like animated miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see them go into that route. Because What If was definitely a success story.
Mm-hmm.
When a lot of people didn't think it would be. I think it would be very interesting to see them do that.
Alrighty.
But as for what if episodes, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But I would like to see more animated content from them.
Yeah. I think if we're going to compare to other properties that Disney has over it, I think Star Wars has like the real linchpin of like animated stuff at the moment. Because like the last like superhero animated stuff that Disney has done, like Ultimate Spider-Man and Avengers Assembled or whatever.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Yeah.
Well, Earth's Mightiest Heroes was very good, but that was before Disney bought the rights to all the MCU. And then I had to end that, and that's what Avengers Assembled was.
Yeah, but Avengers Assembled wasn't as good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That those weren't good, but...
I would like to see them do a retrain on that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting.
Yeah, a retrain of, like... that animated stuff, but like I don't know, would you want to see it more MCU related or would you rather see it more comic book related?
I like the comics. I feel like that'd be a really good cuz they already have an MCU thing. They have the shows, they have the movies. They already have that well established for the next 5, 6, 7 years. They really don't have an animated market for Marvel. Meanwhile, like DC blew them out of the water. I would like to see the Disney budget get fully behind like an animated series.
Yeah.
With Disney Plus money specifically, with this streaming service, I think they can get away with a lot.
Yeah, because like if we're gonna compare it to like DC animation, like I just watched the other day The Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2, which is a great Batman story, and it was phenomenal. It was great.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, though. You have any other final words for our what if?
Nope. No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you for helping us ponder the question of how what if was good.
There we go.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.